Nearly all metalliferous deposits require being founded by fire, superheated gases and superheated fluids. These superheated fluids smash and splinter their way through rock, often forming their own fluid pathways. If those fluids, the superheated fluids, encounter exactly the right conditions, those conditions being temperature, pressure, and acidity, then metals will precipitate out of the rock, the fluids. If they don't precipitate and they don't encounter those conditions perfectly, the fluids will continue through the rock and you'll end up with a barren vein. That's why it's so difficult to find these resources and these mines. They're hard to find, they're hard to predict, and there's very few of them. Earlier, Ross was saying that they're becoming harder to find. Rockfire Resources is very fortunate that we have a beast by the tail. The Greek government identified one of the plumbing systems for a zinc deposit, and Rockfire is currently drilling to be able to find out just how big this deposit is. The deposit already has 1 million tonnes of zinc. We have 260,000 tonnes of lead, and we have 19 million ounces of silver. It is a big deposit. We're drilling now to find out how much of that resource can be economically extracted. So we're moving our inferred resources up to the indicated category to increase our understanding and our faith in the numbers that we have generated. I'm going to take you on a very quick tour of Greece today, and I hope you enjoy learning about the zinc deposit that we have there, as well as the critical mineral germanium, which I'll talk about shortly. Our board is made up of a good mix. We've got geologists, we've got an accountant. It's always good to have an accountant on your board, and particularly one that is an ex-auditor. We have a mergers and acquisition specialist, always pretty handy people to have on your board. So you can see there Stephen Hunt in the middle, one of our non-executive directors. Steve has been, for the last 11 years, and he still currently sits as the chairman of the Joint Ore Resource Committee in Australia. He has been the chairman for 11 years. He spent 26 years with Rio Tinto as their global advisor on reserves and resources. So we have some very hard-hitting people on the board. They're put there deliberately. We plan to build this project and this company. As you can see, the market cap is tiny. We're a minnow. That screams opportunity to me. We have zero debt, obviously very, very important for a company of our size. Now, come on, admit it. You've all danced to this on your holidays in Greece. And that's what many people think about Greece. It's a holiday destination. It's great for ouzo and olives and souvlaki. But Greece is much more than just a destination. It's actually a very, very smart investment opportunity. You have a first world, highly educated and a safe democratic nation. Many of the geologists in Greece have got PhDs, they've got postdoctoral PhDs, and then they've got postdoctoral PhDs. So they're a very highly educated nation. They have a tested mining law. Greece has been underground mining zinc for decades at one of those zinc deposits in the Chalkidiki Peninsula. El Dorado of Canada is developing a very, very large porphyry copper deposit, copper gold in Chalkidiki. So the Greek government know what they're doing. They're very experienced at these operations, and that is critical to be tested by fire. We're positioned at the centre of the continent's critical raw material supply chain. I will talk about that a bit more later in the presentation. The government is proactive. They're actively trying to get companies to come in and explore. They need the minerals, of course, as does Europe generally. And it is a very good and welcoming government that is able to assist us as we get through this project. We're drilling amongst the olive trees, like quite literally. We're there. We haven't, and I'm very proud to say this, at this point in time, we've not destroyed a single olive tree. Thankfully, I think the olive farmers must have been expecting us, because the olive trees are pretty much spaced at the size of a small drilling rig. So we're drilling between the olive groves. We're a very sensitive environment. You can't get a more sensitive environment anywhere on Earth than in a very historical, some of these trees are thousands of years old, not these ones, but some of the bigger ones. And it's a very highly sensitive environment. We're drilling right in amongst it. So that's the sort of support that we're getting from the landowners. We have great support from the landowners. We have great support from the local mayor and the community, and we have great support from Athens. Interestingly enough, a bit of trivia here, that zinc is vital. It's a vital nutrient for olive tree production and the growth of the olive trees. Zinc is important. So it might be a pathfinder. Can you use it as a pathfinder where you're looking for olive trees and you find zinc? Maybe not. But anyway, we're drilling in amongst the olives. Zinc, I love zinc. I love zinc. It doesn't have the sparkle boy factor that gold has. It's a bit of a mundane mineral, but it's used in everything. Zinc is used in everything. The biggest use of zinc, of course, is anti-corrosion. 2.5 trillion US dollars is lost on corrosion and fighting corrosion annually. 3.2% of the US GDP. That's a huge amount of money to lose through corrosion. Zinc protects against corrosion. I'll leave you to have a look through this list, but there's shampoos, there's electrical circuit boards, there are all sorts of things that use zinc. It's almost a bulk commodity, as you can see behind the aluminium, iron and copper production, but it's staple. Everybody in the world needs zinc. That is a great place to be for an investment. Silver, we have 19 million ounces of silver in Moly. And you can see some of the predictions there. Silver's had a bit of a run recently, as you're very, very well aware. It's come off a bit, but silver is there. It's a byproduct. The principal focus is on the zinc, but we have a lot of silver there as a byproduct, which will add to the economics of the project. You can see the uses there. You're all pretty familiar with the uses of silver. It's underpinned by more than 50 years of exploration by the Greek state. It was discovered in the 1960s. They drilled 200 diamond drill holes in this deposit. They've done 4 resource estimation upgrades, 4 rounds of metallurgy, 2 feasibility studies in 85 and 89, and they developed a portal and a decline for bulk sampling purposes. Importantly, that decline is 3 metres by 3.5 metres. So it's a fairly sizable decline, and one that we could potentially use once we start to go underground. Rockfire was awarded a 30-year licence. Not many companies can boast that they have a 30-year licence. And the other thing is it's exploration and exploitation licence. So we don't have to go back to the government for the mining rights. We found germanium in Greece. And there's a lot of people that inadvertently say geraniums. So I thought I'd just show you a few differences between geraniums and germanium. So try not to get them confused. and germanium is the focus there as a byproduct of the zinc. We also found the portal, the old portal. We uncovered the old portal. Our plan is that we will actually try to use that old portal. That will save us many tens of millions of euro in getting down to the top of the ore body. The decline went to 50 metres below surface. It's a 700 metre decline. And if we can reuse that, we're already at the top of the sulphide zone and beneath the oxide. Our mineral resources, 15 million tonnes. 15 million tonnes at 7% zinc, 1.75 lead, and almost 40 grams per tonne silver. You can see there the million ounces of zinc, 19 million ounces of silver, and 260,000 tonnes of lead. But look at the price of the germanium. That's, yeah, you're reading that, it's a bit small. 8.6 million US dollars per tonne. That's a pretty good byproduct. And that is going to add substantially to the production of zinc and silver and lead. Germanium is a highly sought and critically rare, geologically rare mineral. I've spoken with a couple of mates of mine who are CEOs in Australian mining companies, and they rang me and they said, what type of analytical technique are you using for your zinc? Because we want to test our zinc for germanium. So I told them the analytical method. They analysed their zinc. None of them have germanium. So if you have zinc, you don't automatically have germanium. That's what makes moly so critically rare and important for Europe. This is a cross section. This is looking towards the north. So we've sliced through the ground, looking north, dipping towards the east. As you can see there, we've identified 23 lodes of zinc. Don't worry too much about the colours. The colours don't mean much. They're just showing all the different lodes that we've encountered. Of those lodes, you can see there that there's 3 or 4 central lodes in the central part there, and those lodes have the bulk of the tonnage, and they are also very, very good grades of zinc, lead, silver and germanium. If we look at a long section, that's 2 kilometres that you can see there, the scale bar at the top, and it's continuous. The zinc mineralisation is continuous for 2 kilometres. We have another 5 kilometres where we know that there are old zinc workings. We know that there are historical drill holes that have hit very high grade zinc. And we know from our PXRF soil surveys that we have zinc almost continuous for that extra 5 kilometres. All of that 5 kilometres is under our tenure. And that speaks volumes for the upside potential of this project. You can see in the red circle, or it's not a circle, it's an ellipse, have to be particular, down the bottom there, that's our current inferred resource. And you can see the red zinc, a lot of that is an outcrop, it outcrops at surface. We've tracked the zinc for 400 metres vertical depth. And you can see the target there. Our next target is to the north, and we hope to be able to potentially double the amount of zinc that we have by drilling out that next few kilometres to the north. You can see the licence outline there, and the length of the licence, as you can see there, is 7 kilometres. When we come to mining, these are some of the parameters that we'll be looking at. We are focused on underground. I think it would be a corporate suicide to be able to start to conceive open cut mining in such a sensitive area. It's foolish, and we have promised the government that we will look at underground operations only. I think it's a wise choice. The government welcomed that decision, and the use of the underground is important because this is the local community livelihoods, and we're not there to destroy that. We're there to enhance it. The widths are expected to allow for minimised mechanised mining, which is a minimum of 2 metres. The deposit has some of the intersections are over 13 metres in width. So there is some width to this. We do get very, very narrow, more distal loads, and it would be doubtful, if I go back very quickly, it would be doubtful that some of these upper lodes would be mined at any point because you can see they're quite thin and narrow there. But also the top 40 metres, we've left a crown pillar of 40 metres, which is the oxide zone, and we will come in and mine beneath the oxide zone. The processing, we're planning for on-site crush, grind and flotation, fairly standard, nothing too unfamiliar with that. The proven treatment flow sheet, we've got 2 concentrates. We have a zinc germanium concentrate, and we have a second stream, which is silver lead, and surprisingly, we get some copper and gold reporting to that second concentrate. We get up to 0.5 gram gold in the concentrate and up to 2% copper in the lead silver concentrate. So 2 streams, 2 products, and you can see the recoveries there. Those recoveries, they're okay, 89 to 74, but what is important to remember is that that's an open system. It's not a closed system. So, and it's a bit like panning for gold and letting everything run off the pan into the river, so it's lost. So if you then pan over the top of a bucket, you can recycle that and get more gold that you might potentially lose. Similarly, with our flotation circuit, you close the system, you can rerun the product through the system and increase your recoveries. So the recoveries at that point don't concern me. I know we can improve those recoveries with a closed system and a multiple pass. Our idea is to transport the concentrates to European smelter and then a germanium separation plant within Europe. There is a germanium separation plant in Europe, in Belgium, just outside Brussels. It's owned by Umicore. You can see the zinc smelters around Europe. Some of those are on care and maintenance. And our concept is to send the concentrate to one of the smelters and then the product and the slag from the smelting to the germanium refinement plant in Belgium. I want to tell you a little bit more about germanium. It is an intriguing mineral and as I say there, you can see that the price of it at the moment is phenomenal. 23rd of April, I haven't updated that one. But the map of the global germanium supply. I haven't plotted the Chinese suppliers of germanium, but they do control, you might not be able to read that, around 85% of the supply of global germanium. The red dots there are drill holes or historical samples that have recorded germanium. The green dots are producing mines. There's one in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, there's one in Middle Tennessee in the USA, and one at Red Dog up in Alaska. And I want you to focus on the orange ones, because there's Molle. McMillan Pass, very soon, when we finish this phase of drilling, we will be one of only 2 global resources of germanium. And that's a very important place for Rockfire to be. It's a strategic positioning to be able to take advantage of the short supply of germanium, the critical nature of the mineral, and the geological rarity of germanium. Germanium is used in electronics. If you produce a silicon germanium chip, you can produce a smaller chip, and you produce a chip with less electronic noise interference. That's also very important. The germanium-based chips, as you can see there, they're more energy efficient and they're more stable over a wider range of temperatures, also very important. If you're going to have electronics, and you don't want it on fire in halfway through your operations, you add germanium to it, and you have a wider range of temperature operational uses. Advanced driver assistance, lane assist, reverse parking sensors, and autonomous driving. They all use germanium. All of the sensors in our cars use germanium, and they can't operate without germanium. Well, yes, they can operate without germanium and just run into things, that's all. But the germanium is critical for the sensors. It's all about the sensors. It's all about the glass. If you go back to your Science 101 and you have a sheet of glass and you pass light through the sheet of glass, it hits the glass, the light refracts, bends, it passes through the glass, and as it comes back out into the air, it re-refracts. So you have an offset of the light. If you add germanium to that glass, it removes the refraction. So you have an absolute direct line of sight through the glass. That is critical for military and warfare. Germanium is used in weapon sighter applications. On our televisions, most nights now, we see the crosshairs and you'll see a truck explode or a building explode. It is the germanium that is guiding those missiles. Infrared heat-seeking missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, infrared night vision goggles, and high-powered cytoscopes. They all rely on germanium. They cannot have the accuracy that they require without germanium. It's a very topical mineral, and that's why it's $8.5 million per tonne. Safety and security. Germanium is added to firefighters' their masks to be able to see through smoky environments. They're used in night vision to find lost people in the bush. Oh, you don't call it bush here, forest. So sorry about my Australianism, but GPS used by firefighters. It's got a lot of applications. Medical imaging, again, it's all to do with the sensors. X-rays, MRIs, PET scanners, they all rely on germanium. That's the end of the presentation. We are listed on AIM, so it's easy for you guys to buy shares, and feel free to go home, race home, and download this presentation, and of course after buying shares, and make sure you have a good look through at your leisure. Fascinating mineral, great project in a magnificent jurisdiction. Thank you very much.